What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you yet another vastly inferior version of a good legacy deck, and that is a deck centered around Wailord and Blastoise. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And before I get into the question of the day, I know you guys are seeing this little banned card thing on the Smeargle and wondering how the heck I'm going to do a video with Smeargle being banned, considering it's very necessary in this deck. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I have been sitting on my recording with this deck for a little while. I recorded it when I just kind of had a day of nothing and was like, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to record a little TCGO. But I haven't found the appropriate moment to really send out this deck. And at this point I was like, you know what, now's as good of a time as ever. But unfortunately Smeargle was banned, so yeah, fourth wall break inside of another fourth wall break, so that's like 16 walls right there. My bad. But either way, this deck is centered around Blastoise and Wailord, and before I get into the deck, just want to get that question of the day out of the way really quickly. I mean, it's a Sunday, so you guys already know that my question of the day is, do you guys have anything interesting going on, or have you had anything interesting happen to you in this past week? As for me, I mean, it's T-minus about a week, actually right at a week, until I leave to move into med school. So I'm really just trying to get all of the recordings done. That way, even while I'm moving in, getting adjusted and everything, you guys will still have videos coming out for you. So gonna try to work on that. There's also gonna be an announcement coming next Sunday or Monday, so be on the lookout for that. It'll be in the video that I put out on that day. But yeah, apart from that, what do you guys have going on, and has anything cool happened to you? On to the deck, like I said, of course, for like the 5th or 6th time, centered around Wailord and Blastoise, and the Blastoise Keldeo deck is already an established archetype in the Legacy format, because Keldeo has, well, first of all, Russian, which is amazing, just switches out, gets out of paralysis, gets out of sleep, really just all of those nasty status conditions that you might be subjected to. Russian with Keldeo helps you get out of those. And Secret Sword does 50 plus 20 for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. Combine that with Deluge Blastoise as often as you like during your turn. You may attach a water energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Just combine that with Keldeo, and Keldeo hits for a ton of damage. But, I mean, like I said, we are out here. We don't use the superior versions of decks. We use the inferior versions. And what's the inferior version? Well, that is Wailord. And also, I did get this deck from Puka from Top Deck. I was watching, I was like, you know what, this looks like a really awesome crappy deck that I want to use, so I decided to go with it. Wailord, 200 HP, so massively bulky. This thing is not going down anytime soon, and the attack we are focusing on is Water Cannon. For 1 water energy, does 30 damage times the number of water energy attached to this Pokemon, if you flip heads, of course. So you might look at that and be like, well, 50% of the time, if you combine that with Blastoise, you can hit for a ton of damage. And that's where we're bringing in Fliptini with the Victory Star being able to reflip on attacks. Basically, there's only a 25% chance that Water Cannon won't be doing anything. Now, I don't want you guys to look at this deck and be like, oh, well, Wailord does 30 for each water energy. Keldeo only does 20. No, Keldeo's just much, much better. The only instance, well, actually, the instance in which Wailord becomes better than Keldeo and hits harder is at 6 energy, because Wailord will hit for 180, Keldeo will only hit for 170. However, at 6 energy, Keldeo guaranteed hits for 170. Wailord still has a 25% chance of not hitting. So Keldeo just vastly superior in every way, but we're not out here using the good version of decks. We are out here using the bad version of decks. So yeah, that's what Wailord does, and then the rest of the deck is literally just dedicated to trying to get this up as quickly and consistently as possible. I'm going to go through the Pokemon just one by one, because I've already talked about the general strategy. And yeah, now let's get into the numbers. 2 Smeargle, yes, it's banned, I know. For Portrait, just helps with the setup, helps you get an additional supporter per turn. Usually you only use Smeargle once or twice in a game, but even late game, it can be very crucial if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, well, I want a supporter, but I don't really have a supporter. I want to see what my opponent has in their hand. I mean, just Smeargle works in a ton of different ways. So that's why there are a couple in this deck, just to make sure that you set up as efficiently as possible. 2, Victini, because Victory Star is very important to the strategy. It turns a 50% chance into a 75% chance, so we don't want to be subjected to it potentially being prized, so that's why we're running 2. 2, Exeggcute, because we have so many discard cards in this deck, like Computer Search, Junk Arm, Superior Energy Retrieval, Ultra Ball, and Exeggcute helps with that discard cost. If you have 2 Exeggcute in the discard pile, you essentially get to use all of those cards for a 0 discard, which is incredible and also incredibly important. 1 Keldeo, because like I said, Blastoise Keldeo is a very, very, very good and powerful deck on its own. But Keldeo, with that rush in and retreat, like I said, can be important in this deck. And also, it just gives us a backup attacker, a basic attacker, that type of thing. Although I am going to try to make sure that I don't just load up 1 Keldeo and go to town. I'm going to try to focus on Wailord, but Keldeo is there as a backup attacker. 3-1-3 line of Squirtle through Blastoise seems a little bit heavy, but we want to quickly and consistently get up Blastoise so that we can deluge as early as possible. And finally, 3-3 of Wailmer and Wailord, because Wailord with the 200 HP, you're not going to be going through more than 3 Wailord. In fact, you're barely going to be going through 2 in a full drawn-out match. So, yeah, 3 Wailord and 3 Wailmer, just because, I mean, main attacker, that's what we want to focus on, but it's bulky enough to where you're just like, yeah, you know what, let's just go with it. And one kind of funny thing, Wailmer is a basic, is a non-EX basic that evolves that can't be searched out with Level Ball, so just something to keep in mind when using this deck. A spec of choice is, of course, Computer Search, just being able to get that 1 puzzle piece we need to get set up. 1 Heavy Ball, I threw that in there kind of last minute, but it's worked out wonderfully because Heavy Ball searches out Wailmer, Wailord, and Blastoise. All of them have very high retreat costs. And this way, you can have another method of searching out Blastoise and Wailord that isn't Ultra Ball, and you have a way of searching out Wailmer that isn't Ultra Ball as well, because Level Ball, while it is important in this deck, and while I do run a couple of them, they don't search out our attackers or our Blastoises, so being able to search those guys out with Heavy Ball is actually pretty important. For Junk Arm, just be able to reuse cards from our discard pile. 2 Level Ball, like I said, because Level Ball is important for Squirtle, Exeggcute, Victini, Smeargle. I know it doesn't search out our main attacker, but at the same time it searches out enough crucial pieces of this deck that I decided to go with it. 2 Random Receiver, because it can essentially turn Junk Arm into a supporter in the right situation. 2 Rare Candy. Now this is kind of iffy, just because 2 Rare Candy is a little bit sketch. I'll be honest. 2 Rare Candy is a little bit sketchy. I'd like to run 3, but I didn't have the room in the deck to run 3, just because, I mean, this deck is already pushed for space to begin with. So running 2 Rare Candy, that way we're not just relying on 1, but we also have well, so we're not relying on 1, but also don't just overload on Rare Candies to where, okay, well, I already played my Rare Candy, I don't need them anymore. So 2 of them are kind of a happy-ish medium, but again, this deck is so cramped for space. 2 Superior Energy Retrievals, because if a Wailord gets knocked out, then we lose a ton of energy, or a Keldeo. Superior Energy Retrieval helps us kind of get those back a little bit. 1 switch in case our Keldeo gets stuck in the active, or we don't have Keldeo in Float Stone, or our opponent has Garbodor, just that type of stuff. 1 Tool Scrapper, because Garbodor would shut this deck down. Tool Scrapper gives us a way to turn off Garbotoxin and still be able to use our abilities and hopefully come through in that time. 3 Ultra Ball as the preferred Pokemon search of choice, because we do have Exeggcute, like I said, to help mitigate that discard cost, but also it guarantees gets us whatever Pokemon we want when we play it. 3-4 of N and Oak, just shuffle draw. This deck has too many puzzle pieces. It really doesn't want to discard a ton of cards and throw them into the discard pile. So Juniper, while it's incredibly nice, could actually be potentially disastrous and hugely detrimental, because you also notice we're not running any Super Rods or Pokemon Recursion. So yeah, we just kind of have to rely on the shuffle draw to go from there. And then also 2 Skyla, running 2 Skyla to search out mainly rare candies. That's mainly what Skyla is for. But in a pinch, you can also search out for like Computer Search or something to that effect. Yeah, so 2 Skyla are definitely good in this deck. 2 Float Stone, mainly for Rush Treat with Keldeo, and then also playing it on Blastoise if our opponent has Garbodor up and tries to catcher stall with that. and then finally we have 10 water energy. You could run a little bit less, but like in a Blastoise deck, you kind of want to have a lot of energy. That way you can just continually throw them down. So, I mean, again, this, like I said, just word vomit. This deck is very, very cramped for space. If you're going to use a Blastoise deck, use Blastoise Keldeo, but this is a fun, bad deck to use, so why not? But anyway, I'm done rambling. Let's go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against a Water and Fire deck of Matthias Armstrong, however you want to say it. And we do win the coin flip, so we do get to go first. How cool would that be if we were in a mirror match? Because, I mean, hey, it is possible, and unfortunately, I start off with Exeggcute. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's probably the last Pokemon you want to start with in this deck. Yeah, this is not good. This is very not good. On the bright side, I will be able to Skyla and get a Smeargle out, and then retreat Exeggcute into Smeargle. So I at least can have, like, a real supporter in the first turn. Unfortunately, I have a lot of good stuff in my hand, too, that I don't want to have to get rid of. I get Ultra Ball. So what I'm going to do right here, let's Ultra Ball get rid of the Superior and the Blastoise. Yeah. Superior and the Blastoise to immediately get a Squirtle. No, I need the Smeargle. I really need the Smeargle. So I'm going to go ahead and play that down. Skyla for a Level Ball. Let's Level Ball. Grab a Squirtle or a Wailmer. What do I want to grab? Actually, let's grab the Exeggcute. This way I can have the Exeggcute in the discard pile for later. Junk Arm, get rid of the Skyla and the Exeggcute for that Level Ball again. This way I can also save the energy on my Exeggcute. Let's grab the Squirtle, obviously, because I need Blastoise. Play the Squirtle down, play the energy onto Exeggcute, retreat into Smeargle and Portrait, see what we can get. Oh, we get an N. That's lovely. That is something that is very nice to see. So I get a I don't even understand what that was. I get a brand new hand of 6 cards, and ooh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be really good. I'll be able to get a Blastoise up next turn for sure. Let's Ultra Ball, get rid of the energy and the Exeggcute. I want to grab a Wailmer, because I mean, like, okay, I could very easily have just held on to that energy for next turn, loaded up Keldeo, gotten a Blastoise, and then went to town with Keldeo. But that's not what this deck is. This deck is a much inferior version of Blastoise Keldeo, and it has Wailord. So, I mean, if I'm not using Wailord, I'm not doing this deck justice. At this point, he is going to Catcher. What's he bring up? Exeggcute. That's not a huge deal. I will just be able to end once again. Get another Wailmer. Let's Heavy Ball first. Grab the Blastoise because I have the rare candy in my hand. I'll be able to immediately get a Blastoise up and going. If I can get a Float Stone, I'll be able to Rush Treat into Smeargle. I'm just going to go ahead and play the N because I don't really need all that stuff. And I get... Ah, there we go. So I get the Wailord. Totodile. I don't have the Victini just yet. So what I'm going to do is Deluge. Obviously Deluge. Get 2 energy onto the Wailord. Just go ahead and start loading that thing up. I might as well. Float Stone up to Keldeo. Rush in. And then retreat into Smeargle. And then... actually, you know what? No. Let's go into Wailord. That way I can just start attacking. And, I mean, if I get 2 heads, I knock him out. So... never mind. Well, okay. That happened. Just no damage. No damage of any kind. That's just kind of sad. Alright, so really should have just rush treated into Smeargle, but I was like, you know what? I'm feeling lucky today. I might as well. We get the rare... My opponent gets a rare candy. So we're going to see if... We're obviously going to see a Feraligatr. But... Oh, this is a Feraligatr Prime deck. That's really cool. I mean, honestly, it's kind of... Actually, okay. Using Feraligatr over Blastoise is a double-edged sword. For starters, Feraligatr cannot get shut down by Garbotoxin. Blastoise does get shut down by Garbotoxin. However, Feraligatr can only attach to water Pokemon. Actually, I probably should have played that Wailmer down earlier. Feraligatr cannot attach to normal Pokemon. To non-water Pokemon. Blastoise can. But then also there's the whole not getting shut down by Garbotoxin thing. So there are 2 energy in the discard pile. Let's go ahead and propagate with Exeggcute. If I put all 5 energy onto Wailord, I think I actually should be able to knock out this Feraligatr this turn if I'm able to flip heads. So let's go ahead and Deluge, put all 3 energy onto Wailord, and then hope that Victini is able to come through for me, and I'll be able to knock out this Feraligatr. So I do get Eox's new theory. Let's Water Cannon. All right, baby, come on, give us heads. Yes, we do. No, I would not like to reflip that because I'm hitting for 150 damage. And at this point is where Wailord actually potentially starts to outclass Keldeo, because with 1 more energy, I'm hitting for 180, whereas Keldeo only hits for 170. So, I mean, obviously, Wailord is so much better than Keldeo in every single possible way. I mean, it's not even a competition. I'm obviously joking, guys. I'm completely 100% joking right now. There is no way that Wailord is better than Keldeo. Keldeo just has Rush In, Retreat. It's a basic. It doesn't require coin flip. I mean, there's just so many different things that make Keldeo so much better than Wailord. But you know what? We're playing Wailord, and we're going all in on it. Speaking of going all in, playing that 6th energy, let's Oak's new theory, see if we can get even more water energy. Yes, we do. Just, there's no kill like overkill. Let's Deluge. Actually, you know what? I mean, I could put it all on the Wailord, but I might as well just be half smart. I mean, I know that you guys don't actually expect that out of me, but I might as well just be somewhat half intelligent with how I make my plays, so might as well put the Keldeo 1 energy away from being, put the Keldeo 1 energy away from, what am I trying to say? Put the Keldeo 1 energy away from being able to attack. There we go. And then I will just computer search for an Oak's new theory for next turn. Let's Water Cannon, 1-shot this Keldeo, hopefully. Please, okay, yes, I do get the heads. And yeah, hit for 180 damage on that Keldeo-EX. Easily 1-shot it. Get a couple prizes. I'll be able to power up Keldeo next turn. And all my opponent has is a Croconaw, which, honestly, at this point, I think Wailord is just going to absolutely steamroll him. So he is going to catch her. That's not a huge deal. All I have to do is just rush in and then attack with Keldeo this coming turn. Or I can go into Wailord, or I can make the smart play of going into Keldeo, and I think my opponent realized that all I had to do was attach an energy to Keldeo, rush in, and knock out the Croconaw. He didn't even have that 25% chance of me flipping 2 tails in order for him to still, you know, stay in the game and not just die horribly underneath a Wailord. So, yeah, that was a cool first game. I mean, Wailord was able to come through, wasn't able to do so early in the game, but hey, you know what? It was able to one-shot a Keldeo with 6 energy, and we take those. So, yeah, let's go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Purple Fang with a pure Psychic deck, so fingers crossed there are no Garbodor in there, otherwise we are going to be having a very bad time. We do win the coin flip, which means we will get to go first, and that's, you know, that's always nice. I saw the Exeggcute start and started to get really worried, but fortunately we do have a Smeargle as well, which is always nice. We see Laser Bank, and Gold Potion is the ace spec of choice, which is kind of cool. But we do see Laser Bank, meaning that Keldeo is going to be very, very important in this matchup. I think what I might have to do is like Level Ball and then Skyla for a Junk Arm to reuse the Level Ball to get a Squirtle and a Wailmer out turn 1. Actually, I get an Ultra Ball, so I really don't have to worry about that all too much. Well, and even top deck the Wailmer, so what I can do is Level Ball for the other Exeggcute. That way, for the rest of the game, I don't have to worry about any discard costs of anything. I mean, as long as my opponent doesn't play Garbotoxin, obviously. So let's go ahead and grab a Squirtle. That way I have Squirtle and Wailmer turn 1. With all of that, play the energy onto the Wailmer. Let's Skyla. Actually, you know what? Do I want a Smeargle? Let's actually play the Float Stone onto Smeargle, and then Portrait, see what we can get. We get an N, and we do see an Enhanced Hammer from my opponent. So what I wanted to do is I didn't want to exactly have to use Skyla just yet. This is actually gorgeous, because what I can do is play down a Wailmer and a Victini, and then I can always just double execute for... Actually, you know what? I mean, I could very easily double execute, which I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that, because I still have my supporter for the turn. So I might as well just not waste that. Let's computer search, get rid of both execute once again. Probably grab an Oak's New Theory, I would think. Yeah, let's grab an Oak's New Theory. I could have grabbed a Random Receiver, that way I could turn Junk Arm into a supporter. But at the same time, I mean, I already have Computer Search in there, as well as... I already have Computer Search in there, as well as... What am I trying to say? I have Computer Search in there, as well as 2 Execute. That way, discarding all that isn't a big deal. And I could play another Smeargle down, and then potentially Portrait once again. But do I want to risk the fact that I would have... do I want to risk the fact that I might be discarding 3 Water Energy? I don't think so. I think for the time being, I'm just going to leave this as is. I can always retreat with Smeargle. If you're playing... Okay. So, basically, if we attack Venipede, our Pokemon's going to get poisoned. That's fine. He does Tool Scrapper, get rid of my Float Stone, and then he ends me. So it's not a huge deal. I'm still holding on to all those energy and the Ultra Ball. Well, I'm going to be able to get a Blastoise this turn. Because while I'm going to have to propagate like 30 times, and by 30 I mean 4, I should still be able to do this. So let's go ahead and actually... I'm going to Junk Arm without propagating, just because I don't need the extra Squirtle, I don't need the extra Victini. I have those guys out, so I'm just going to get rid of those, that way I don't have to draw into them late game. And now that I have good stuff in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and propagate, because all the stuff in my hand is stuff that I want to use. Let's computer search, get rid of both execute to grab a rare candy, which we do have. There we go. For a split second, I was like, wait, I forgot to check, but I mean, I have a couple rare candy. It would be very bad. It'd obviously be very bad if I wasn't able to, well, if I had both of those prized and I didn't check. But here we go. Let's play another energy onto Wailmer. And here's the question. Actually, you know what? No, let's just Oak. Here we go. Okay, so I get a Wailord. So let's play that sucker down. Deluge even more onto it, obviously. And actually, I might want to Deluge 1 onto Smeargle, just so I'm able to retreat, but I'll cross that bridge actually right now. And then let's Portrait, see what we can get. We get a Silent, which, I mean, hey, energy. I'm okay with this. So, yeah, let's just grab 3 energy cards, put them in our hand, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So it's a Deluge once again. Put energy, 1 more energy onto the Wailord, I think, just because 150 is kind of a magic number with non-EXs in order to knock them out. And then I'm going to start powering up the Wailmer in the background. Let's retreat my Smeargle into the Wailord, and then go for a... Actually, you know what? Let's go for a Giant Wave, just so I can knock out this Venipede. Because, I mean, okay, Giant Wave knocks out the Venipede anyway, and at least this way I don't have to worry about, like... the 25% chance that I wouldn't get a knockout. Yeah, I won't be able to use Giant Wave next turn, but... I mean, knock out the guy with energy. I had a guaranteed knockout on it. I will be using Water Cannon the next couple turns anyway. I just kind of wanted to go for the guarantee. And we see Crushing Hammer start to come out. This is where Superior Energy Retrieval, I think, will be huge. He does get rid of 1 energy off the Wailord, but, I mean, unless he rare candies into Gardevoir or Gallade, I'm still going to be able to knock it out. And we do see the Hypnotic Gaze, which, ooh, that could be a little bit annoying if he's able to paralyze me. So I do kind of want to get a Keldeo out as quickly as possible, just be able to rush and retreat. And there's the Hypnotic Gaze. And I'm asleep, but I do wake up and I'm poisoned as well. Sorry, I thought that was paralyzed, my bad. Let's go ahead and end, get 5 new cards, see if I can get something that gets me a Keldeo with rush and retreat. I mean, I get a Switch, which I can work with. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that, actually. Let's switch into the Smeargle, get rid of the poison. There's double execute, so I might as well just use the... Okay, so what I'm worried about right now is the fact that I might have... that I might grab a Juniper with Portrait, so I might as well use these cards up, and, well, I mean, I guess my opponent just forfeits, so there's something, that's something too, and I could have always just attached to Smeargle and then retreated back into the Wailord again. So, I mean, I would have just rinsed and repeated, and then Wailord would have trashed my opponent's entire team. I could have even just Giant Waved again in order to get another knockout, so... Yeah, able to overcome a Psychic deck. Wailord able to put in the work. We were able to Water Cannon, something I did not think I would do. But, hey, it had the guarantee over the 25% chance, so we took it. And you know what? I'm feeling good, so let's go ahead and try to find one more with this deck. Alrighty, we found another one against a Checksquell. I swear I've played this guy before with what looks like a Plasma deck, and if I remember correctly, if I remember correctly, this guy loves spamming his Plasma deck on the ladder, but I could just be misremembering, to be honest. So yeah, let's go ahead and... I mean, we do get to go first, so that's always nice, and I start off with Smeargle. I start off with actually a very nice hand. So this is pretty good for me. Start off with Smeargle, I can Skyla for some stuff. And yep, this is, I mean, if this isn't Plasma, I'd say eat my cards, but considering the cards are kind of online, it'd be a little bit difficult for me to be able to do that. So I'm not going to say that, but I mean, I'm 99.1000%, I don't even, I'm 1000% sure that this is a Plasma deck. Start off with Smeargle, which is nice because now my opponent can't Hypnotoxic Laser me before I'm able to use my Portrait. We do get a couple Mulligan cards, which is very nice. I get a Keldeo, which is perfect for being able to rush in, retreat, all that good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just play that down. And then, yeah, there's Thunderous, so, yeah. I mean, I was right. Let's go ahead and Heavy Ball. Grab a Wailmer, get that thing down. I'm not sure how I want to play this. So it's Wailmer. Let's Ultra Ball, get rid of the Water Energy, I think, because I can always Superior that back. And the Skyla. To grab Exeggcute. Just because I can get rid of that. And then let's... did I do that wrong? Now let's Junk Arm, get rid of Exeggcute and Oak's New Theory to grab another Ultra Ball. Okay, so I'm going to have to put Blastoise in the discard pile in order to do this. But I think... I mean, it's a play that gets me Wailmer and... it gets me a Wailmer and a Squirtle out there, as well as having an Exeggcute in the discard pile, and I think one Blastoise in the discard pile is worth that. So I think right here I'm just going to Portrait. My opponent has nothing at all, so that's okay with me. And then I'm going to Oak's New Theory, just get some more stuff, and there we go. So... Alright, this is great. So let's go ahead and Level Ball, grab another Exeggcute. That way I can, you know, use Junk Arm on it and whatnot. Just be able to get that thing in the discard pile as well. Let's go ahead and Propagate both Exeggcute. That way if my opponent ends me, I'm not throwing an Exeggcute back in the deck. Because what I can do with this is just go ahead and... Do I want a Level Ball or Heavy Ball? I think Level Ball, just to grab another Smeargle, maybe? Or no, let's grab Victini. That way I have my setup complete, and I can just go from there, and then let's play the energy onto the Wailmer. Might as well just start getting that guy set up, and... Alright, so that was a perfect turn 1 setup for me. Able to get up a Keldeo, Wailmer, Squirtle, and Victini all in one turn. My opponent currently has absolutely nothing. He has no supporter in his hand, and of course he top decks the Computer Search. Sigh. Oh well, I mean, my opponent's probably going to grab like a Juniper or something like that, or some way to get a supporter. I mean, obviously we won't be able to see what my opponent grabs with the Computer Search. He does super ride the energy back into the deck, but odds are we're going to see what my opponent grabbed with a Computer Search, because it looked like he just had a bunch of energy, like Colress Machine and stuff like that in his hand. And yeah, so he Computer Searched for an Oak's New Theory. That is never a bad thing to Computer Search for, and that's actually nice for me because I don't have a supporter in my hand, and my opponent just oaked probably into a hand that got him a supporter. Unfortunately, we see the Hypnotoxic Laser. That's bad because it means that I will not be able to use Portrait. He will be able to Raid Knuckle right here, hit me for 30, 40 damage, will be able to set me up for a knockout, next turn. But if I can get I top deck the Float Stone. Float Stone, you beautiful, beautiful card. Let's go ahead and rush in. I'm going to go ahead and rush in with Keldeo. Might as well reset that poison. My opponent has a whole lot of nothing. Let's retreat back out into Smeargle. Yeah, let's do that. Play the energy onto Wailmer. And then let's just grab one Exeggcute. Put that thing back in my hand. Actually, you know what? I'm going to grab two. I'm going to put both back in my hand just because, I mean, why the heck not? Let's get rid of both of those guys. Probably grab... Let's grab the Level Ball. That way I can grab a Wartortle. Just kind of play it slow when Wartortle is pressed. So that's unfortunate right there. I mean, I should have looked earlier, but I wasn't paying attention. Let's go ahead and Smeargle. Grab a Juniper, luckily. So let's Juniper get a fresh hand of 7 cards. Get a Wailord, and I mean, crap. So that was a waste on right here, is just kind of bide my time. I mean, I have Wailord, I have Victini, I have a couple energy on Wailord, so I'll be able to hit for 90 if I'm able to flip heads. My opponent is going to be able to start powering stuff up, but at the same time, he is just knocking out Smeargles, and once I'm able to get a Wailord set up, my opponent's going to have a really hard time taking that thing out, because that thing is absurdly bulky. He is going to be able to get a knockout on the Smeargle this turn, like I said, but that's not a huge deal. I just promote my other Smeargle and go from there. So, does whiff twice on Dual Ball, which is nice, but I mean, again, he's going to get a knockout anyway. That wasn't like a determining factor or anything like that. And he's starting to get Curums powered up in the background, which is kind of scary. So my opponent is in the lead, but I just need to get a Wailord set up, and then I can just start going to town. Oh, I get the rare candy, but I really want to have that for later. So here's the question. I have 3 junk arms. Do I put the rare candy in the discard pile? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. That way I can activate the other junk arm, grab 1 energy, and then let's end. I mean, my opponent will still be at 5 cards, but at least he doesn't have like his hand, the hand that he wanted that last turn. Unfortunately, still no Blastoise and still no rare candy Blastoise. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get rid of that silver bangle. Let's do that right here. Crap. So let's propagate with Exeggcute. I think I'm going to go ahead and propagate twice, yeah. Probably grab another Wailmer just so I can have, you know, another attacker or something that I can work with. Let's grab the Wailmer, and then let's probably going to go ahead and portrait with Smeargle, see what we can get. We get nothing, so I will just have to wait another turn, which honestly is fine with me. The less my opponent gets like ridiculously set up, the better. And I could Rush Treat, but I think I could Rush Treat into Wailord, try to hit the Thundurus for 90 damage, set it up for a 2-hit KO. But I think keeping Wailord as fresh as possible, not let it take a big hit from like a Curum or something like that, is the way to go. That way, if my opponent knocks out another Smeargle, I just send in Wailord, knock out one of his big hitters with 1 big attack, and then just start steamrolling through. I think the play with Wailord is to just take a bunch of 1-hit knockouts. We do see that my opponent does just Ride Knuckle. Again, he must not have anything. I get a Blastoise. I don't get a rare candy still, so let's just go ahead and Oak. See if I can get rare candy Blastoise. Which I do not. Crap. Let's go ahead and Float Stone up Smeargle, I think. And then let's Random Receiver, thin out the deck. I get another Oak, that's fine with me. So I just need a Junk Arm, Portrait, nothing, that's okay. At this point, I still think I just want to leave Smeargle out there. I need 2 more energy on Wailord in order to just be able to take huge one-shots. Now, my opponent's Plasma Deoxys is going to be a gigantic issue, because with the Plasma Energy and 1 energy, he's going to be able to one-shot my Wailord, which, I mean, that would be 6 energy just straight up gone. Deoxys is the bane of Blastoise decks just because of how ridiculously hard it is going to be able to hit. So my opponent, I think this turn, will just be Ride Knuckling, taking another knockout on the Smeargle. I mean, he could retreat into his Curum and take a knockout while also spreading a little bit of damage around, maybe getting damage on the Wailord. We did see that my opponent did not have much of anything in his hand. I mean, just like an energy and stuff like that. So he won't be, unless he top decks something really good, which, to be fair, with my luck, that's probably the case. I think we're in an okay... So we're not in a great spot. We're in an okay spot that I think Wailord can be able to pull us back from. And unfortunately, it looks like my opponent went AFK. Man, that's really frustrating because this was like a good match. This was actually a really good match that I was looking forward to playing out. But I mean, like, if my opponent went AFK, there's nothing I can do about it. So, I mean, maybe he just wasn't paying attention for that turn. Maybe he lagged out. So what I'm still going to try to do is I have a Junk Arm. Unfortunately, I don't have anything that can get me a Blastoise this turn. So I'm just going to go ahead and just Level Ball for a Victini. Let's Portrait, see what else they have. They have just like they just have like a Switch, a Verbank, and then a couple Energy. It's not a huge deal. And then let's end the turn right there. I am one turn away from Wailord being able to absolutely steamroll him. Now, I did see they did have the Prism and the Plasma Energy in his hand, so all he needs to do is just attach the Prism to Deoxys and then the Plasma, and he'll be able to one-shot all of my attackers, pretty much, or any attacker that I have powered up enough to where I'll be able to get one-shots on him, so Deoxys is the bane of my existence. And unfortunately, it looks like my opponent is AFK, which... Man, that was really frustrating because this looked like it was going to be a actually really good match that I was gonna have to play well in order to win. Because I mean, obviously Kyurem's a problem. Deoxys is a gigantic problem. I mean, at least right here I'm gonna be able to finally get a Blastoise. But at the same time, like I'm annoyed. I'm a little bit annoyed right now that I'm not gonna be able to. Actually play like a real game right here. So that's frustrating, but what are you gonna do? Like we had the makings of a really great game, and suddenly my opponent just went AFK right in the middle of it. So now what was looking like a really phenomenal game that was going to be difficult and actually a really interesting one for you guys to watch turned out to be one that my opponent just left, and now I'm obviously going to play this out. I mean, just in case, maybe my opponent went AFK for 2 turns. And if that's the case, then I don't want to, like, just be like, oh, I'm just going to make these really dumb plays, and then my opponent comes back and just steamrolls me. I mean, I'm still going to take advantage of this. But I don't want to, like, it's frustrating for me because, like, I want to bring you guys good games. I really do. So when stuff like this happens, I just kind of have to roll with the punches. So I am just going to go ahead and take out the Thundurus with a Wailord, but... Considering he's AFK, once I get this knockout, I'm probably just going to pause it until the end, because, yeah, this is really frustrating. I'm really sorry, guys. So, yeah, I'm just going to pause it until the end, or if my opponent comes back. Alright, so we're back, and, yeah, I mean, I'm just going through. I thought my opponent was coming back for a second because, I mean, he played the Kyurem up, but, yeah, I mean, there's really, this game's just kind of over at this point. I'm just kind of pausing on each knockout with Wailord. Admittedly, I'm post-comming this part because, I mean, there was really no point in just playing it through, just because, I mean, you get to see that I just wanted to show Wailord getting KOs on the Plasma Pokemon. So that's what that part was, just cutting Wailord, knocking out Kyurem, Wailord knocking out Kyurem, and then taking the win. So sorry about that last game, guys. I was really hoping it was going to be great, but regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.